Yes.
I guess I want to ask again to make it clear. Winsboro will not have to pay any funds.
No, ma'am. No funds will come out of Winsboro.
No funds will come out after the study.
None.
Yes, ma'am.
But the funds will be solicited in the name of the city of Winsboro, right? So our reputation is certainly out there, and our name is on the table more than once.
The only way we can own the project is that it is solicited in our name. But they are just an engineering firm, architectural firm, and consulting firm. And it's partnered, so yes.
And I want to say this, anytime a project is undertaken, whether it's for the streets, whether it's for the parks, whether it's for flooding, our name is on the line. You're absolutely right. So it's not just in this one study, but whenever right now Meyer is the engineering firm that's working on our streets, our name is on the line. Right now they're dealing with the Jack Hammond Center. With the completion of that, our name is on the line. So with anything that goes on in this city, you better believe the name of Winsboro is on the line. So that risk is a risk that the city takes every time we sign a contract with anybody. Our name is on the line.
Well, the things that I've heard, the concerns are, number one, flooding. Nobody wants their home to flood. Number two, the cost of the project, which seems very high to me. Regardless of who's paying for it, it's real money. And number three, that the study has already been the project's already been studied. And so if we do the study and we decide that it is a feasible project and we decide to go forward with it, to follow up with Ms. Betty's point, who then pays for the project itself? And I asked this question of the feasibility study, not knowing whether it was $1,000 or $100,000 or $500,000, to be very surprised that it's $1.8 million. I'm a penny pincher, I'm going to tell you that right now.
The companies have indicated to us that once they raise the money for the feasibility studies are done, and then they're securing funds to actually implement the project and complete the project. The feasibility study dollars will be included in that, and that's how they are reimbursed for going ahead and doing all this work in advance. They are financially able to do the feasibility study and bring their money back into the grants and stuff that they secured to get the project done.
Basically what he said was that the companies, after the feasibility study is done, the companies will get the money. Their job is raising the funds for the implementation. Only after only if the city council approves the project. Now, if the city council approves the project, then the onus will be on them to go out there and find the funding through grants or whatever process that they use. Part of what they're going to do is the money that they've spent on the feasibility study. They will use part of that to reimburse themselves. So basically, what he's saying is the people that are doing the feasibility study are financially well enough. They believe in the strength of Winsboro to the point, because we are in excellent financial shape. They believe in the strength of Winsboro to the point that they're willing to use right now at this time some of their own funding to conduct this study, and then further down the line reimburse themselves through the grants and other things that they procure, that they bring in. That's one of the things that the feasibility study will show. Once again, we haven't been able to find the McManus study, so we can't come up with numbers off that study when it hasn't been produced. Yes, ma'am.
You're saying, you're interjecting here that you can't find the McManus study.
Right.
Where is he, McManus? He can't give any answer to any questions that might be needed?
I know that Mayor Johnson has spoken.
I believe he's been asked.
Been asked several times.
Well, excuse me. Jackie, if the police jury paid for that study,
Excuse me.
If the police jury requested that study, doesn't it belong to the police jury? Can't the police jury ask for that? I mean, it won't cost anything to ask. I mean, my thought is, I don't think anybody,
I see. Good luck,
I mean,
Ken.
okay, well, I mean,
We tried.
okay, well, if you have, I'm done. I mean, I'm fine. I was just asking.
I have another question. Okay, Turkey Creek is in the parish. Other people's land that's going to be affected is in the parish. But yet, I'm hearing that you need to angle in to even get this feasibility done through the city. And then yet, the city's not going to be liable. And this is the first time I've ever heard of money being spent and nobody being liable. That's my question. I would like to, the meeting I thought this was about was to get input from people to even know if we even wanted to even do a feasibility.
You're absolutely right.
So I thought maybe we had more information to go on to make that decision. And I've not heard anything concerning anything concrete, what kind of feasibility study is going to be done, what's entailed, what survey they're going to do, what survey they're not going to be allowed to do, because you're looking at people's land. You're going to turn people loose on it. They can do anything they want to do. What can you do to safeguard that they're not going to be doing anything but this feasibility survey to say whether or not it'd be a good idea to do it or not?
Well, that's why we're having this meeting, to determine whether it's a good idea to do it or not. And the purpose of a feasibility study, first of all, is to answer those very questions that you just asked. It's the first time I've ever actually heard of a hearing or a meeting to decide whether to have a feasibility study, because those questions are the questions that a feasibility study actually answers. So there won't be any answers until you have a feasibility study.
So if they're going to do the feasibility and then at the point that they bring the results back, we decide whether or not we want to do it, why are we here? Don't you think they should be doing it and then bring us something back so we can make a decision?
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
The council wouldn't do that,
I agree with you. This is the first time I've ever been in a situation where before a feasibility study is done, you're actually having a meeting, because the bottom line is you really don't have any information to go on.
And yet they got a question of why we would take a risk of $1.8 million to do a feasibility study when there's nothing that you can go on if you even need it. We're talking $1.8 million already down the road.
Every feasibility study, every project that the city does, every project that the parish does, every project that the state does, every project that the federal government does, a feasibility study is done prior to their project. A feasibility study isn't something that's unusual. A feasibility study is standard practice before you do a project, because once again, like I said, there are different factors that are involved.